Revealed, the incredible journey of unexpected family betrayal that changed my life forever. Sarah couldn't breathe. It felt like the weight of the world settled on her chest, trapping her heart beneath the memories of a family torn apart. As she sipped her coffee, the steam swirled like the chaos inside her. The sharp cracks of the morning sun peeked through the kitchen window, illuminating the small farm she had fought so hard to keep, a labor of love that echoed her late father's dreams. Every peeling paint and rusted fence post whispered his name. Her father had believed in perseverance, and so did she. But now, everything was about to change. "Mom, can I have pancakes?" Her son Sam's excited voice broke through the fog of despair, followed by his sister, little Lily, bouncing in place, eager to join in. The warmth of their laughter chased the shadows away. She served pancakes smothered in syrup, the sweet aroma mingling with the day's promise. Life here, amidst sprawling cornfields, made it easier to breathe until Jake returned. His arrival shook the small town, sending ripples through her life. Folks at the diner marveled, hearts softened, old wounds forgotten, but Sarah? She felt like an outsider in her own family. How could they welcome the black sheep back without a second thought? After years of estrangement, Jake, a man of reckless decisions, had come home to reclaim what was once his. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The town buzzed with excitement, but that only deepened her isolation. While neighbors swirled around Jake with forgiveness, Sarah, in the solace of her fields, felt doubt creeping in. The crops were her responsibility. Every seed had been planted with hard labor, and now, the whispers dug under her skin. "Does he deserve another chance?" they said, glances cast her way filled with judgment. Even among support, betrayal lingered, looming over every interaction point. One day, as Sarah knelt in the earth, pulling stubborn weeds from the roots, the whispers turned sharper. Jake was there, ready to confront her with memories they shared of laughter, of playing in the sun, yet also reminders of broken trust. Just when they seemed to be bridging gaps, a chilling revelation surfaced, something they'd never spoken of before. It shifted the ground beneath her, sending her spiraling. What if the life she built was nothing compared to the shadow of their past? Was forgiveness possible when legacy felt tainted? Her heart raced at the implications. Family secrets unraveled like an old stitch undone, showing the frayed edges of loyalty. Could she really risk everything she held dear for a brother who had chosen betrayal? As the sun set behind the cornfields, coloring the sky in turbulent hues, Sarah stood at a fork, burdened by the choices laid before her. The winds of her memories whistled around her, whispering both hope and dread. Could she face the truth and find peace, or were the fragile bonds of family ready to snap? The storm was brewing, and Sarah knew the worst was far from over. The days dragged on with an agonizing slowness. Each morning, Sarah awoke to the same sunlight streaming through her window, the familiar call of the rooster reminding her of the routines that once felt so comforting. Now, everything felt tinged with uncertainty, colored by the shadow of Jake's return. With every attempt to cultivate the land, a knot grew tighter in her stomach. The cornfields stretched endlessly, but they felt less like home and more like a battleground. Her fingers clawed at the dirt, searching for answers in the soil, but the earth was silent, just like her brother when the confessions were brewing in the air. She needed to confront the specter of their past, yet the mere thought left her breathless. One afternoon, as Sarah dragged herself back to the farmhouse, exhausted from inspecting the crops, she noticed a figure standing at the edge of her property. It was Jake, his hands shoved deep in his pockets, surveying the land as if it belonged to him. The sight of him stirred a mixture of anger and sadness inside her. How could he stand there, as if it was all so simple? "Do you remember the summer we built that tree house?" Jake called out, not turning his gaze from the fields. "You said we could make it our secret hideout. I felt like a king up there." This careless nostalgia infuriated her. How dare he invoke memories from an easier time? That place is nothing but a rotten old stump now, she shot back, the bitterness spilling from her lips. Just like the family we once had. He flinched, and in that moment, she saw a crack in his bravado, a fleeting glimpse of a vulnerable man still haunted by the past. I know I messed up, Sarah. But, can't we what? She interrupted, her voice trembling. Restore it all? Pretend nothing happened? I've built this life in your absence, Jake. I can't just wipe it out because you think it's time to play the brother again. A cloud passed over his face, and for the first time, she saw regret in his eyes. He took a step closer, the distance between them shrinking. I don't expect forgiveness right away, but I want to help. I want to make things right. I can help with the farm help. You think that would fix things? She shook her head, her heart hammering. You don't understand. The betrayal, the pain, it doesn't just disappear because you've come back. Then talk to me, Jake urged, his voice low, sincere. I know about the secrets. Believe me, I never wanted this for us. But what we don't understand can tear us apart. The air grew thick with tension, and for a split second, Sarah hesitated. What did she want? A brother to stand by her side, or the truth that threatened to destroy everything else? Then she remembered the old family photographs, dusty in boxes, hidden away in the attic, full of memories she'd prefer to forget. The secrets they had buried deeper than the roots of their cornfields. What are you hiding? She blurted out, the question exploding between them. What did you know that you didn't tell me? What are you afraid of? Jake's expression shifted, as if he had been holding back the weight of a storm. The flicker of fear in his eyes mirrored the chaos brewing inside her. She felt reckless but alive, the adrenaline surging as she pressed him further. Tell me, Jake. Before we go any further, I need to know we're not diving into another betrayal. I need you to show me why I should trust you again. As he opened his mouth to speak, the air turned electric. The uncharted territory of their past loomed before them, and she understood. No matter how daunting the truth was, it must come to light. With a shaky breath, Jake finally began to share secrets that could either bind them together or tear them apart completely. Jake took a deep breath and squared his shoulders. The weight of the moment hung heavy between them. You have to know I didn't come back empty-handed. I've been trying to figure out how to face this, how to face you. Sarah's heart raced. She felt like she was standing on the edge of a deep, dark hole, peering down into uncertainty. Face what? She pressed. The day I left, it was about more than just me. The secrets, the lies they always swirled around us, didn't they? But you never saw the damage they caused. His voice trembled, as if dark memories threatened to wash over him. Jake, stop. Just tell me what you know. She urged, frustration bubbling to the surface. He took a step back, as if bracing for an impact. It was Mom. She had this fear that something would happen to us. You remember all those safety talks? The way she'd keep the doors locked and never let us wander too far? Of course, Sarah replied, piecing together a childhood steeped in paranoia. But what does that have to do with you leaving? I found something out, Jake whispered, his eyes glistening. Something I was meant to protect you from. It was about Dad, about that night. When he left us. The words dangled in the air, sharp and splitting. Sarah felt a rush of confusion, betrayal, and something like dread curling in her stomach. She had always known her father was gone, but the details had been shrouded in silence. What are you saying? You knew something you didn't tell me? I didn't want to hurt you, Sarah. He exclaimed, desperation in his tone. There were things leading up to it. I was just a kid, afraid. I thought if I kept that secret, everything would remain normal. You wouldn't blame him. Normal? She repeated, her disbelief igniting into rage. Nothing was normal after he left. You think by hiding the truth, you did me any favors? You shattered everything the moment you decided to abandon this family. That's not fair. Jake shot back, his voice rising. I didn't abandon you on purpose. I was scared. I thought you were better off not knowing, and what have I learned instead? She yelled, tears threatening to spill. How to grieve someone I never had, or how to cling to the shadows of our past. All these years, I stood waiting for you to come back and tell me the truth, but here we are, and it's just lies piled upon lies. Silence swallowed them whole, the wind rustling the cornfield around them like anxious whispers. Jake looked at her with vulnerability, the barriers he had built crumbling. I came back to set things right. I'm done hiding. I need you to understand I wasn't trying to protect you. I was terrified of losing what little family we had left. They were standing on the brink of a chasm, and every shared glance felt like a step closer to the edge. Sarah's heart raced, and she could feel her breath quicken. You think this will solve everything? You think just telling me now absolves you? I'm asking for a chance, he pleaded, pain etched on his face. To be brothers again. But only if you can trust me to be honest from here on out. Every fiber of her being responded to his plea, a flicker of hope igniting deep inside. What if they could rebuild? What if the truth paved a way for mending their fractured bond? But the shadows loomed larger than ever, obscuring the path ahead. Drawing in a breath, Sarah met his gaze. All I have now is uncertainty. You have to tell me everything, the truth behind Dad's departure and what it means for us. Otherwise, I can't see a way forward. Jake nodded solemnly, the gravity of her words hanging thick between them. All right, he replied quietly. But you have to promise to listen. This isn't just about Dad, it's about our mom too, and the choices that were made. And as he began to recount his truth, a deeper storm brewed within her. Could the unveiling of their long-buried secrets lead to the healing they both desperately needed? Sarah felt an odd mix of anticipation and dread. The secrets that lingered might be the very things that broke them further apart or pulled them closer than they'd ever been before. But just then, a distant rumble of thunder echoed through the hills, a reminder that storms were also part of their narrative, a prelude to the downpour that could wash away everything in sight. Would the truth bring clarity or destruction? The answers were just beginning to unfold, and for Sarah, the journey was only starting. The rumble of thunder rolled again, this time closer, shaking the very ground beneath them. The sky darkened, casting a shadow over the cornfield as if it mirrored the turmoil within them. Jake shifted uncomfortably, but Sarah stood her ground, ready to face whatever truth would emerge. Okay, Jake began, his voice barely rising above the rustling leaves. It started years before he actually left. Mom had her fears, sure, but there were reasons behind them. I didn't know it when I was young, but now I see everything differently. Sarah felt her chest tighten. All those childhood memories, playful laughter, secret hideouts, were suddenly tainted with a bitterness she'd never wanted to taste. Jake, just tell me. What did you find out? He inhaled deeply, as if bracing himself for an emotional plunge. Dad wasn't just gone because he wanted to be. He was pushed out. There were arguments. Dad and Mom didn't just fight about everyday things, it was more intense, deeper than we realized. They were struggling with each other and with themselves. Her heart raced, but not in the way she'd hoped. The idea that her father had been driven away felt like a heavy weight in her stomach. Driven away? By whom? By what? By a secret he was keeping, Jake said, his voice steadier now. One that involved someone we trusted. Someone in the family. I found some letters in the attic after I decided to come home. They were addressed to Mom but never sent. They spoke of affairs, accusations, and a man named Frank. The name hit her like a cold wave. Frank? I remember hearing that name. Who is he? He was Dad's best friend, Jake said, tears glistening in his eyes. But he was more than that. He buried a secret with Dad, a whole web of deceit. I think Mom knew about it and tried to protect us from the fallout, but it only festered. A web of deceit? Sarah echoed, disbelief creeping into her voice. So this whole time, she was hiding things? Hiding the truth about Dad? Jake nodded, his expression pained. Mom was scared of losing us both. She thought if she kept her past hidden, we could live a normal life. But secrets, they don't just disappear. They grow, consuming everything in their path. A terrible sadness swept over her. So, what are you saying? That we're all just a part of this lie? That nothing about our lives was real? No. Jake insisted, his voice rising again, desperation lacing each word. I'm saying that this family has been through hell. But running away only made it worse. I came back to face it. To face you and try to fix it. The wind picked up, whipping through the corn stalks like a restless spirit. The dark clouds rolled overhead, echoing her inner chaos. Jake, if Mom was involved, how do I trust you? How do I know that all of this is true? It feels like another lie. I wouldn't lie about this, Jake replied, his voice dropping to a whisper. It hurts. But I want to make sense of it, for both of us. I thought I'd be protecting you all those years, but I see now that doing nothing was the worst choice of all. Tears began to slide down Sarah's cheeks, the weight of the truth unbearable. What if fixing it means losing what's left of us? She murmured. Then we face that together, Jake said, a spark of determination lighting his eyes. Just give me a chance to show you that it's worth it. But as he reached for her, the sky split open, and rain began to pour, soaking them in seconds. The downpour felt like a cleansing, washing away the facade they both had lived behind for too long. Each drop echoed a heartbeat of uncertainty. Would confronting these truths bring the resolution they sought, or would the storm tear them apart further? A chilling wind swept through the field, making her shiver. Let us go inside, Sarah finally suggested, her voice hanging in the air, uncertain yet determined. We need to talk more. There's too much left unsaid. As they turned to head back, a flash of lightning illuminated the horizon, revealing the depth of the darkness that lay ahead. What other secrets would the storm unveil? As they rushed into the house, the rain pounded against the windows, creating a rhythm that mirrored the chaos inside Sarah's heart. The familiar smell of wet earth filled the air as she shook droplets from her hair. She wiped her cheeks, trying to regain composure, but the truth had set up camp in her mind, refusing to leave. The living room felt strangely claustrophobic. The walls closed in as memories of laughter and warmth mingled with the bitter taste of betrayal. She dropped onto the couch, feeling the weight of the years crash around her. Jake followed, his eyes searching hers for understanding or maybe forgiveness. Sarah, he began, but his voice faltered, uncertain. Just give me a moment, she interrupted, breathing deeply. Each breath felt heavy, carrying the unspoken weight of their past. She focused on the storm outside, hoping it would drown out the noise in her head. I knew this would be hard. His voice was low, raw with emotion. Sarah shot him a glare. You knew? How could you know? You've had your secrets too, Jake. Coming back didn't change that. What are you talking about? He exclaimed, confusion clouding his features. I came back to help you understand. Understand what? That our lives were built on lies? That everything we loved was a facade? Her voice trembled, anger bubbling beneath her fragile exterior. You can't just drop these bombshells and expect me to be okay with it. Jake leaned forward, desperation in his eyes. I thought you'd want to know. I thought it would help us heal. Help us heal? Sarah echoed incredulously. What if it just tears us apart? All those years of pretending. Now you want me to believe that by pulling back the curtain, we'll be better off? I don't know if I can handle it. Don't you see? He placed his hands on either side of her face. We have to face this. Ignoring the truth won't make it disappear. We have to know who we are, who Mom is, who Dad was. She pulled away, but his touch lingered on her skin like a ghost. Just then, the temperature dropped, and a sudden chill ran through her. Maybe it was the storm, or maybe it was realization beginning to settle in. She wanted to scream, to push it all away, but instead, she felt her resolve harden. Fine. We'll face it. But that means we both need to dig deeper. Her heart raced with the challenge. If you found letters, we need to read them. If there are truths I don't know about Mom or Dad, I want to know. No more running from each other. Jake nodded, grateful and yet fearful. I'll go get them from the attic, he said, tension still hanging heavily in the air. As he pushed himself off the couch, Sarah wondered whether facing the truth meant they would emerge stronger or simply more fractured. The thought sent a shiver down her spine. Moments later, Jake returned with the stack of yellowed letters, each one carrying the burden of secrets from the past. The rain continued to batter against the windows, and the living room felt like a sanctuary teetering on the edge of chaos. Are you ready? He asked, holding the letters like a lifeline. A flash of lightning illuminated the room, casting shadows that danced ominously around them. Sarah took a deep breath, steeling herself. No, she said softly, but I have to be. They opened the first letter, and the storm outside seemed to fade away into the background. The words on the page began spilling secrets that had long been hidden, threatening to unravel what they thought they knew. They were stepping into a darkness they hadn't anticipated, and Sarah could almost hear the echoes of betrayal and truth colliding in the storm. What revelations would they uncover buried within those letters? The first letter was brittle, its edges crumbling as Sarah gently unfolded it. The words were written in a hurried, slanted script that felt familiar yet foreign at the same time. She could almost imagine her mother's voice whispering the letters to her, their warmth eclipsed by the icy fear settling in her gut. Jake leaned closer, his presence an anchor as they both began reading. The rain intensified, rattling the windows, but the outside world faded further into the background. Each word soaked into Sarah's skin, igniting a fire of confusion and curiosity. Dear Alicia, she read aloud cautiously. If you are reading this, it means I've finally stood against my fears. The mention of their mother's name sent a shiver through her. Sarah's heart pounded as she continued. The letter unfolded a tale of heartache, sacrifice, and unexpected choices, revealing snippets of a life they had never known. Look at this, Jake whispered, voice cracking. She talks about a promise, something she wishes she could share with us. The emotional impact of those words hung thick between them. Sarah glanced at Jake, his eyes wide with shock, mirroring her own turmoil. What promise? She asked, breathless. The next sentence felt like a punch. I made a decision that will haunt me forever. I had to protect you both, but it meant hiding the truth. A silence fell, heavy and oppressive. Sarah's mind raced. Protect them? From what? Jake, unable to contain his urge, turned to the next letter, his fingers trembling. Hold on, let us read more. As they tossed back and forth between letters, it became clear that their parents' lives were shrouded in a web of choices that seemed noble but were laden with consequences. Each revelation uncovered deeper layers of guilt and secrecy. A story began to take shape, one filled with shadows of betrayal and love intertwined. Then came the words that made tears pool in Sarah's eyes. Your father's legacy is not what you think. There are truths woven into his past that could reshape everything you believe about us as a family. A tremor of disbelief coursed through her. She closed her eyes, fighting against a tidal wave of emotion. What does that even mean? Who were they really? Jake, clearly overwhelmed, finished reading the letter before glancing at her. We have to know the full story. It can't end like this. But the uncertainty gnawed at her insides. As much as she wanted understanding, the idea of shattering the images she held of her parents filled her with dread. What if their love was built on lies? Sarah, Jake's voice broke through her spiraling thoughts. I can't do this alone. Whatever happened, we face it together. Suddenly, another flash of lightning illuminated the room, casting shadows that danced as if they were mirroring her heart's turmoil. Okay, she replied softly, her voice steadying as she realized the gravity of their bond. Together. Taking a deep breath, she reached for the next letter, the one that was crumpled as if it had been clutched tightly for too long. As they began to read, the storm outside raged on, echoing the raging battle between the comfort of the past and the uncertainty of the future. What else would they discover about the lives they thought they knew? Would the answers bring them closer or tear them apart? As the rain continued to drum against the windows, the weight of every word seemed to take them to the brink where truth and pain intertwined, urging them forward into darker revelations yet to come. As Sarah carefully unfolded the crumpled letter, her heart raced. The anticipation of new revelations sat heavy in the air. The letter was yellowed, crinkled at the corners, as if it had traveled through time alongside the secrets it held. "Here we go," Jake murmured, his voice barely audible over the thunder rumbling outside. It felt like the sky echoed their turbulent emotions, a wild storm mirroring the chaos within. With a deep breath, Sarah began to read aloud. "Dear Alicia and Jake." The words seemed to shimmer with an energy that was almost tangible. "You may never understand the choices I made, but know they were born out of love. Love for you both, and a desperate need to protect you." A chill crept up her spine, washing over the warmth from their mother's earlier letters. Protecting them? From what? She hesitated, the weight of the words pressing down. "Alicia, my sweet girl, I left behind more than just memories. I left you a legacy, but it isn't the one you think. Some of it is buried deep in the heart of our family. It's buried in the past that you must now unravel." Jake ran his hand through his hair, his expression a mix of concern and determination. "We need to know what she's hiding," he said, urgency seeping into his tone. With renewed resolve, Sarah pressed on. "Your father faced demons I could not fight alone. He wore masks that you could never see, masks that made him who he was, yet also concealed the man I fell in love with. He loved you both fiercely, but there were things about him that I kept from you. Things meant to shield you from pain." Tears started to form in Sarah's eyes again. An image of their father flashed in her mind, his laughter, the way he would lift them onto his shoulders. Could there really be darkness behind those cherished memories? She swallowed hard, not wanting to believe it. "Jake, what if it's worse than we think?" she said, her voice trembling. "What if this truth changes everything?" He looked at her, eyes burning with a fierce intensity. "Then we face it together, like we always planned. No backing down now." She nodded, swallowing her fear. "Okay, let us keep reading." The letter continued, each line unraveling more threads of the past. Their mother detailed a friendship with a mysterious figure from their father's life, a shadowy presence who had impacted their decisions, leading to sacrifices that echoed through their family. "The consequences of those choices will come back. They already have," she read, her voice barely above a whisper. "And if you ever feel lost, remember this: love often has a price. Seek the truth, even if it hurts." With each word, the world around them seemed to dim further. The storm outside intensified, driving rain against the windows like a desperate plea for clarity. "What is the truth?" Sarah murmured, feeling overwhelmed. "What price will we pay for it?" Jake clasped her hand tightly. "We'll find out. We won't stop until we uncover everything, even if it tears us apart." Suddenly, a loud crash of thunder startled them. The lights flickered, plunging them into momentary darkness before the power flickered back on, illuminating the urgency in Jake's eyes. "We need to find out who this other person is," he stated. "If they were involved in our family's decisions, we have to know." With a trembling heart, Sarah realized this was just the beginning. They were standing on the edge of a cliff, ready to jump into unknown depths below. And for the first time, she felt a thrill of curiosity mingled with fear. The storm was only a backdrop. What loomed ahead was the real tempest, the truth. As they gathered the letters, she felt the weight of their parents' untold stories pressing in around them. What other secrets awaited discovery? And what would they reveal about the family they thought they knew? "Let us find that name," Jake said, and as they pushed forward into the next letter, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the answer lurked just out of reach, waiting to reshape everything they believed. Sarah's fingers traced the next envelope, its edges worn and soft, just like the emotions swirling inside her. With a hesitant sigh, she held it up to the light, seeing the name on the front. It felt like an old friend and a complete stranger all at once. With Jake's wide-eyed gaze fixed on her, she knew this letter was about to deepen their journey, for better or worse. "Here goes nothing," she whispered, and ripped the flap open. As she pulled out the letter, the scent of aged paper mixed with faint remnants of lavender drifted up, triggering a distant memory of their mother, a sweet, calming presence that felt miles away now. "Dear Alicia and Jake." She started again, grounding herself as the words poured out. "If you are reading this, then I trust you have begun to uncover the truth behind our family's past. But what I am about to tell you may change everything." Every line thrummed with significant weight, each syllable pulling them deeper into the mystery. "The man I loved." Sarah paused, sentiment choking her throat. Who was she meant to know? The one in their photographs, or this hidden figure? He was flawed. Imperfect in ways that would shatter the image you have of him. He was chased by the choices he made, choices that involved a woman named Marissa. She saw him at his worst, a side I hope to protect you from. The thunder rumbled again, more furious this time. Rain lashed at the windows, a cascade of raw energy outside that mirrored what churned inside Sarah: the need to know, the fear of the unknown. Jake leaned closer, a frown creasing his brow. "Marissa," he echoed. "Who is she? Why does she matter so much?" Sarah skimmed ahead, her heart pounding. "Marissa held secrets. She knew things about our family, about our father, that I could not disclose for your own protection. But now, those secrets threaten to break free. You need to confront them." She looked at Jake, her pulse racing. What could she possibly know? "Only one way to find out," Jake replied, his voice steady amidst the scrambling thoughts circling in her mind. "We need to trace this Marissa. Get answers straight from the source." As they continued to read, the narrative deepened. Their mother spoke of quiet meetings, late-night phone calls, and a friendship that blurred the lines of loyalty. Sarah's heart sank with each sentence that painted a picture of deception, of ties that stretched beyond parental love, ties that could unravel everything she had ever believed. "Your father loved you, but love is complicated," Sarah read out loud, her voice trembling with emotion. Each word felt like an unwelcome revelation, washing over her like the storm raging outside. "Love is complicated," Jake muttered, the truth sinking in. What if we're not just uncovering family secrets? What if there's betrayal lurking somewhere in our past? The atmosphere shifted. The air was thick with questions. Each piece of information left an echo that stirred unease. What if this is all a lie? Who do we trust? Sarah dropped the letter onto the table, shaking. "I don't know if I want to keep digging. What if it's worse than we think?" Jake reached out, his fingers brushing against hers. "There's only one way forward. If we know, we can protect ourselves from it. Ignorance might shield us now, but truth is the only armor against the pain." In that moment, the storm outside synced with her racing heartbeat. It was chaos all around them, but deep within, something was shifting. With each exploration of their past, they found new pieces to who they struggled to be as children and who they might become as adults. Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, inhaling deeply, focusing on the whispers of the rain. Their mother's voice echoed, urging them to find Marissa. This would be a journey to a truth she might not be ready for. "Let us do it," she finally said, the decision grounding her amidst the uncertainty, igniting a spark of courage. "Let us find Marissa." As they prepared to leave the warmth of their home and plunge into the unknown, Sarah felt a shiver of anticipation. The past awaited just beyond their doorstep, thick with secrets, and perhaps just a glimpse of the future they needed to shape, but would they be ready for what lay ahead when the answers finally surfaced? Would they emerge whole or be shattered in the process? The real questions surfaced, whispering insistently: how far were they willing to go to uncover the truth? The rain poured heavier as Sarah and Jake stepped outside, the cool droplets mingling with the warmth of their resolve. Sarah's heart raced, anticipation and fear intertwining like the storm overhead. They didn't exactly have a plan, but they had each other and the determination to keep digging, no matter what lay ahead. "Where do we start?" Jake asked, glancing around the street, drenched in the gray shadows of evening. The familiar roads now felt foreign, filled with the weight of hidden truths. "I guess we can try the old neighborhood," Sarah suggested, her voice barely above a whisper. She could picture their mother walking the streets, laughter bursting from her vibrant spirit. A shiver ran down her spine. How much of that spirit had been a facade? As they drove through the rain-slicked streets, the memories began to flicker like reflections in the water. They passed their childhood park, the swing set now rusted, the slide creaky. Jake's gaze lingered there. "Do you remember how we'd spend hours just pretending? I was always the superhero, and you were my sidekick." "Not just a sidekick," Sarah defended with a smile, feeling a warm rush of nostalgia. "I was the brains of the operation." A chuckle broke through the weight hanging around them, but it faded quickly. The real mission loomed large. They arrived at the old neighborhood and parked in front of a familiar house, its shutters hanging a little crooked now. A twinge of recognition hit Sarah as they stepped onto the soaked gravel path leading to the front door. This was where they spent countless summer days, but it felt like stepping into a different world. With each hesitant step toward the door, she could feel Jake's heartbeat beside hers, steady and strong. He raised his hand to knock, but paused. What if she doesn't want to talk? What if we're not ready for what she knows? "Jake, we have to try. We can't run from this," she said, her voice firm. "If we don't ask, we'll never know." As he nodded, a flicker of courage ignited within her. Before they could lose their nerve, Jake knocked. A moment later, the door creaked open. The woman standing before them looked older but somehow familiar. Sarah felt a rush of emotions swirl. This was Marissa, the woman from the letter, the hidden piece of their family puzzle. "Can I help you?" Marissa asked, her brow furrowing in confusion, but there was a trace of recognition in her eyes. We're looking for answers about our dad," Jake replied, the words tumbling out in a rush. Fear flashed across Marissa's face, and with it, an undeniable hesitation. "Your father?" she echoed, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why do you want to know?" Sarah stepped forward, holding back a swell of emotional turmoil. "Because we need to understand the truth. Our mom wrote to us about you, about everything." Marissa's expression shifted, the surprise quickly morphing into sorrow. "You shouldn't have come here." "Please," Sarah pressed, willing the words to bridge the gap between them, "we just want to know. It's about our family." Heavy silence hung in the air, punctuated only by the rain's relentless patter against the roof. In that moment, everything shifted again. The stakes had escalated, the storm outside no longer a mere backdrop but an echo of the tempest swirling within. Marissa's eyes softened, and for a brief flicker, hope sparked in Sarah's heart. Would they finally get the answers that felt just within reach? As Marissa stepped back, inviting them inside, Sarah glanced at Jake, sensing their collective heartbeats quickening. Will this be the moment everything changes? She thought, a mixture of excitement and dread coursing through her, but as they crossed the threshold, Sarah couldn't help but wonder, would finding out the truth be a liberation, or would it plunge them into the depths of despair? Marissa closed the door behind them with a soft thud, sealing off the outside world and trapping them within the weight of uncertain truths. What secrets would unfold in this very room? And were they truly ready for the revelations that could shatter everything they held dear? Marissa motioned for them to sit, her hands trembling as she poured them both a cup of tea. The steam mingled with the lingering tension in the room, filling the air with a warm, bittersweet aroma. Sarah's heart raced, anticipation and apprehension battling within her. This was the moment they had been chasing, and yet, the fear of uncovering even more pain made every heartbeat feel heavy. We just want to know about Dad," Jake finally said, breaking the silence. His voice was steady, but the undercurrent of emotion was palpable. "Mom's letter said that you knew something about him, about us." What did she mean by all of this? Marissa hesitated, the shadows of her past flickering across her face. "Your father was a complicated man. He loved you both more than words can say, but there were layers to him that he never let you see. It was easier for him to keep those secrets buried." "Buried?" Sarah echoed, leaning in closer. "What does that mean?" What was he hiding? Why did he leave? Marissa sighed, sinking back into her chair as the weight of the memories emerged. Your mother and your father had a love that was beautiful but flawed. There were things about their relationship, things about our history that no one could face. That's why I appeared in their lives, to help hold the pieces together, even if it tore me apart in the process. Help? Jake's brows knitted together in confusion. By keeping secrets? Sometimes, yes. Marissa's voice faltered. I believed I was protecting you. I knew things would hurt you, and I thought they were better left unsaid. But I see now that by avoiding the truth, I caused more pain than if I'd just been honest. Tears welled in Sarah's eyes, her heart felt raw. How could you hold that from us? All these years, and we lived without knowing the whole story. It feels like we were robbed of our family's truth. Marissa began to glance at the kitchen window as if searching outside for the answers. Your father met me when he felt lost. He struggled with demons no one could see. The night he left was about more than just him. It was a culmination of pressures and choices that involved people close to him or even those he shouldn't have trusted. With each word, the storm outside seemed to pound heavier against the roof, mirroring the chaos within Sarah. What people? What did Dad do? Her voice was shaking, the fractures of the past widening with every new piece revealed. Your father had a secret, the kind that can destroy families. Marissa's voice dropped to a whisper. He was entangled in something dangerous. It was a web of betrayal, and it led him to make choices that changed everything. He thought he was protecting you by leaving, by not letting you bear the weight of the truth. Jake rubbed his temples, frustration simmering. And was it worth it? All this hiding? Because we're still left in the dark. The silence that followed felt deafening. Marissa glanced down, tears tracing paths down her cheeks. I thought I could shield you from this pain, but I see now it only passed it down. Love doesn't come without a price, and I've had to pay mine for far too long. Sarah felt a lightness rise from the depths of her sadness. You cared for us, didn't you? Even if it was flawed? It was a realization that hadn't fully dawned until now. Each of them was flawed, fighting their battles alone but sometimes forgetting who they were fighting for. More than you'll ever know, Marissa said, her voice heavy with emotion. But collectively, I failed all of you. You needed the truth, and I kept it from you. A tear slipped from Jake's eye, and for the first time, Sarah could see the pain mirrored in her brother's heart. So, what now? He asked, the fear of answer palpable. What do we do with this? Marissa wiped away her tears, sitting up straighter. You confront it together. Your mother felt that if you uncovered the truth, it could bring you closer. Sometimes, darkness leads us to the light, but you must be willing to face it. You're not children anymore, you have the power to rewrite your family's legacy. The storm outside started to ease, rain slowly transitioning to a drizzle. Sarah looked at her brother, something had shifted between them. They could face this together. Let us not run from it anymore, Sarah said, a newfound resolve filling her voice. Let us find a way to honor Mom and Dad by understanding what really happened. Jake nodded, a spark of hope igniting in his dark eyes. Together. With the weight of their parents' secrets laid bare, a new path emerged beneath their feet. Even as uncertainty loomed ahead, the bond they shared felt unbreakable, forged anew in understanding. Together, they would face the dialogue of truth, searching not just for answers, but for a restoration of the family they had always longed for. As Marissa opened her mouth to speak again, another flash of lightning filled the room, illuminating the space where shadow and truth intertwined. This was it. No more secrets, no more running. With hearts full of hope, they stepped into that light, ready to embrace what came next, and before they embarked on this new journey, one thing remained clear. The past wouldn't hold sway over their future as long as they stood together. Now, for you, subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire us all. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your voice matters. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.